Hello, let us start this session with a currency paradox. £1, as you know, is 100 pence. Now I can write 100 pence as 10 pence times 10 pence. You also know that 10 pence is nothing but 1/10 of a pound. So I'll replace 10 pence with the fraction 1/10 of a pound. That means 1/10 of a pound times 1/10 of a pound is 1/100th of a pound. Okay, simple fraction multiplication. And what is 1/100th of a pound? 1/100th of a pound is 1 pence. What that means is £1, which we began with, actually ended up being equal to 1 pence. £1 is 1 pence. Well, how on earth is that possible? Well, let's try and unearth the answer to such questions in this session. The session is on metric conversions of area and volume, and we'll also do imperial unit conversion towards the end. The three things that we are going to learn in this lesson is what's the relationship between a linear unit and area and volume units. Then we'll understand how do we go about converting metric units of area and volume. And finally, we'll also learn about converting some of the imperial units. Let's begin then. Let's understand what is metric unit of area. Let's say we have a square of length 1 centimeter times 1 centimeter, which means the area would be 1 centimeter square. Now, as you know, 1 centimeters is the same as 10 millimeters, right? Which means I can write the same square or can draw the same square, this time in terms of millimeters as 10 millimeters times 10 millimeters, right? 1 centimeters is the same as 10 millimeters, which means the area of the same square can also be written as 10 times 10, which is 100 millimeters squared, right? So what have you observed here? The minute I convert from centimeter to millimeter, which is 10 times, like the linear dimension is 10 times 1 centimeters, 10 millimeters, the area actually ends up being 100 times, which is 10 squared, right? 1 centimeter squared actually ended up being 100 millimeters squared, which means the area is 10 squared. So remember this, okay? So whenever the linear dimension becomes 10 times, the area, the dimension of the area becomes square of that, okay? So 10 squared. What that means is, if you remember these steps that we had done in linear unit conversions, right? Metric unit conversions for linear units, each step was 10 units. Remember, you multiply every step you climb up, you multiply by 10, and every step you climb down, you divide by 10. But in case of area, if you want to convert from one unit of area to another unit of area, then each step will be square of 10. Okay, that's why, as you can see, each step you go up, you multiply by 10 squared, and each step you walk down, you divide by 10 squared. Just remember that. In case of area, that's the little correction that you need to do. For example, if I want to go from kilometer squared to millimeter squared, sorry, as you know, meter squared is your base unit. You need to walk up 3 steps. And for each step, you multiply by 10 squared. So for 3 steps, you multiply by 10 to the power of 6. 10 squared times 10 squared times 10 squared is actually 10 to the power of 6. From meter squared to centimeter squared, because I need to go up 2 steps, and each step is 10 squared, 2 steps would be 10 to the power of 4. From centimeter squared to millimeter squared, it's just one step up, and that step equals to 10 squared, which means you need to multiply by 10 squared, right? How about the other way around? From millimeter squared to centimeter squared, you just walk down one step, and hence you divide by 10 squared. From centimeter squared to meter squared, you walk down 2 steps, and hence each step is 10 squared, so you divide by 10 squared twice, as in 10 squared and 10 squared. That makes it divide by 10 to the power of 4. And finally, from meter squared to kilometer squared, you walk down 3 steps, and each step you walk down, you have to divide by 10 squared. So for 3 steps you walk down, you have to divide by 10 to the power of 6. 10 squared divided by 10 squared divided by 10 squared, right? So it is 10 to the power of 6. Well, just remember this conversion. Let's do some example now. What about 0.026 kilometers squared? How much is it in meters squared? As you can see, from kilometer squared to meter squared, we are going up 3 steps, and each step is 10 squared because it's the square units area, right? So we need to multiply that by 10 to the power of 6. 10 squared times 10 squared times 10 squared, right? So 10 to the power of 6, 0.026 multiplied by 10 to the power of 6 is actually 26,000 meters squared. What about 21.56 meters squared? How much is in centimeters squared? As you can see, from meter squared to centimeter squared, it is 2 steps up, which means I need to multiply by 10 squared and then again by 10 squared, right? Which is 10 to the power of 4. So 21.56 into 10 to the power of 4 is 215,600 centimeters squared. Okay, what about this? 4,324 millimeters squared. How do you convert it into centimeters squared? So from millimeter squared to centimeter squared, it's just one step down. So you divide by 10 squared. Dividing by 10 squared means the answer would be 43.24. How about centimeter squared to kilometer squared? So 1648245 centimeters squared. How much is in kilometers squared? From centimeter squared to kilometer squared, as you can see, it's 5 steps down. So 10 squared, 10 squared, 10 squared, 10 squared, 10 squared. If you divide that 5 times, you'll get 10 to the power of 10. So your final answer will be divide by 10 to the power of 10, which will end up giving you this answer, 0.000164824 kilometers squared. Well, let's come back to the currency paradox. As I promised, I said I will give you the solution in the lesson, and here it is. The catch here is in this step. 100 pence is not 10 pence times 10 pence, because 10 pence times 10 pence would have been 10 pence squared, sorry, 100 pence squared, right? This is exactly what we saw in the area units. Whenever you multiply centimeter by another centimeter, you'll end up getting centimeter squared. So 10 pence times 10 pence would have been 100 pence squared. So that was the error. 100 pence is actually equal to 10 times 10 pence. If I have 10 coins of 10 pence, that makes it 1 pound, right? Which is 100 pence. It's not 10 pence times 10 pence. It is 10 times 10 pence. If I do that replacement, then I will get 100p. So I'll do the replacement in the second step. So I'll have 10 times 1/10 of a pound. 10 times 1/10 of a pound is 10/10 of a pound, as in 10 over 10, which is the same as 1 pound. And there you go. The left hand side and right hand side are not equal. So the catch to this problem lies in the area units of conversion. Well, now let's understand how do we do the metric unit for volume conversion. Okay, for that, let's look at a cube whose each dimension is 1 centimeters. So the volume of that cube is 1 centimeter cube. As you know, 1 centimeter is the same as 10 millimeters. So I can redraw the same cube, this time in millimeters, with each dimension being 10 millimeters. So what's the volume now? It's 10 times 10 times 10, which is 1,000 millimeter cubed. And now what's your observation this time? If the linear dimension becomes 10 times, so 1 centimeters the same as 10 millimeters, the volume unit becomes 10 cubed, right? 1,000. 10 cube is 1,000. So the volume becomes 10 cubed. So while area becomes 10 squared, volume becomes 10 cubed. And yes, you guessed it right. This time to convert, each step would now be equal to 10 cubed. So to go from kilometer cube to millimeter, to go from kilometer cube to meter cube, which is the base unit, you need to climb up 3 steps. And since each step is 10 cubed, 3 steps would be 10 to the power of 9, and you multiply because you're going up, you multiply by 10 to the power of 9. To go from meter cube to centimeter cube, that's 2 steps up. So you multiply by 10 to the power of 6. Remember, each step is 10 cubed. So 2 steps will be 10 to the power of 6. And to go from centimeter cube to millimeter cube, it's just one step up. So you multiply by 10 to the power of 3. While coming down, you just have to divide the same values again. So one step down is divide by 10 cubed. From centimeter cube to meter cube, 2 steps down. So you divide by 10 to the power of 6. From meter cube to kilometer cube, it's 3 steps down. So it is divide by 10 to the power of 9. Okay, and one important relationship that you need to know is 1 liter is the same as 1000 centimeter cube. Please remember that. Okay, now let's do some conversion quickly. 0.52 meter cubed. How much is in centimeter cube? Since it's 2 steps up and it's cube units, each step will be 10 cubed. So 2 steps will be 10 to the power 6. You're going up, so you multiply. So your final answer is 520,000 centimeter cube. What about 0.781 centimeter cube to millimeter cube? Centimeter cube to millimeter cube is just one step up. So you need to just multiply by 10 cubed. So your final answer is 781 millimeter cube. What about 56420 centimeter cubed? How much is in meter cube? From centimeter cube to meter cube, as you can see, you have to come down 2 steps. Each step you come down, you divide by 10 cubes. So 2 steps will be divided by 10 to the power of 6. So your final answer will be 0.05642. 4502681 meter cubed. How much is in kilometer cube? Meter cube to kilometer cube, you need to come down 3 steps. For each step, you divide by 10 cube. So for 3 steps, you divide by 10 to the power of 9. And hence, your final answer is going to be 0.004502,681. How about 523.18 liters? How much is it in centimeter cubed? Remember, we just did a relationship between liters and centimeter cubed. 1 liter is 1000 centimeter cube. So to go from liters to centimeter cube, you need to multiply by 10 to the power of 3, which is 1000. And hence your answer will be 523,180. Well, what about this? Okay, 45 centimeter cube to liters. Now, centimeter cube to liters, you need to divide. You just have to go reverse. You divide by 1000. So your answer will be 0.045 liters. Well, that was as far as the metric units of area and volume was concerned. Now, in everyday life, you'll see sometimes a lot of units are not metric units. For example, okay, if you look at the distance which are given while you're traveling along a highway are in miles, correct? Your height is usually measured in feet. The milk cartons which you get, okay, have volume given in pints, and you measure your waist in inches, right? None of these are metric units. These are called imperial units. Now, how do we convert from a metric unit to an imperial unit? Let us see some of these conversions. Okay, first, in terms of length, 30 centimeters is 1 foot, 8 kilometers equals to 5 miles, and 254 centimeters equals to 100 inches. You will have to remember these values. What that means is, to convert from kilometers to miles, I need to multiply by 0.625. And to convert from miles to kilometers, I need to divide by 0.625. To convert from centimeters to inches, I need to divide by 2.54. And to convert from inches to centimeters, I need to multiply by 2.54. Let's come to metric to imperial units of mass. 10 kilograms equals to 353 ounces. 10 kilogram is also equal to 22 pounds in terms of mass. So to go from kilograms to ounces, you need to multiply by 35.3. And to convert from ounces to kilogram, you need to divide by 35.3. Likewise, to convert from kilograms to pounds, you need to multiply by 2.2. And to convert from pounds to kilogram, you need to divide by 2.2. Finally, let's look at the imperial to metric units of capacity. 4 liters is the same as 7 pints. and 9 liters is the same as 2 gallons. That means is if I need to convert from liters to pints, I need to multiply by 1.75. To convert from pints to liters, I need to divide by 1.75. And to convert from liters to gallons, I'll have to divide by 4.5. And finally, to convert from gallons to liters, I need to multiply by 4.5. Please do remember all of these conversions and values. Well, that's the end of this lesson on metric units of area and volume, and also conversion on imperial units. The three things that we learned in this unit is the relationship between the linear units and the area and volume units, how the multiplying factor gets squared in area and cubed in case of volume. Then we did the metric units of conversion for area and volume. And finally, towards the end of the lesson, we also did metric units to imperial units conversion. How do we convert from a metric unit to the corresponding imperial unit? I hope you understood the concepts that were taught in this lesson. Thank you.